Let's go.
Yay.
Have a nice
Yeah,
webinar.
sorry. Hola, Tomas. Sorry, I'm on
Ah,
phone call. Sorry,
it's a
sorry. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
hi.
Hi.
Sorry, we have the last session of separate school tomorrow, and I'm on controlling everything.
No
So
worries,
sorry,
Marco. It's really okay.
sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We're still letting some people in. I suggest everyone take their digital seat. Feel free to grab a coffee or some warm drink before we start. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the discussion forum. I'm just letting everyone in a few minutes and then we're gonna start. Let's just take some time to let all the guests arrive. All right, I see there are already 20 people. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, I'm sorry, I will keep on repeating it for the newcomers, but we're just letting all the guests in. Yeah, while we wait, feel free to write in the chat already where you're coming from, where you're based today. I see Yolande has already shared it from Denmark. Really nice. Okay. We will still wait a couple of minutes before we start because I see some people are still entering. If you don't mind, I would ask everyone of you to please mute yourself for the moment so that we avoid some background noises. Thanks a lot for your collaboration. Still a few minutes and then I think we can start. We're just letting the time for everyone to join. Okay. And don't hesitate to write in the chat where you're following this forum from. Very nice. Okay. Still 1 minute and then I think we can start, if you don't mind. All right. Okay, I think I will kick it off. I hope everyone can see me and hear me well. Welcome. It's great to have you here. I see some faces that I already know, but I see also some new faces, which is very encouraging. If you don't mind, I would ask you if you can kindly mute yourself to avoid background noises. But yes, welcome to the third online discussion forum of the project Life ShepForBio. My name is Beatrice Bellavia. I work for Euromontana and I am part of the Life ShepForBio project consortium. I'm not alone today. Also, the project coordinator, Tommaso Campedelli, is with us. We're really happy to welcome you here. So for those of you who are not familiar with this kind of event yet, the online discussion forum is an event made to create connection between different pastoral schools representatives across Europe and between different stakeholders. Before I go deeper into the details, I would like to let you know that the meeting today will be recorded for transcription purposes. So if you're not feeling comfortable with this option, you're very much free to turn off your camera. And also because the networking dimension is really crucial for our event, I would also like to let everyone know that we would like to share the contacts of the participants in the final report of the event. And that, of course, would be only the full name and possibly the email address. So if you don't like this option, this is totally fine. You can let us know either by writing in the chat or by sending us an email. Now, I was just mentioning the objectives of this meeting. Some of you might have already attended it. For other people, it might be the first time. So our idea is that we want to promote pastoral practices across Europe, especially the sustainable ones. And what we aim to is to facilitate the exchange of knowledge, of expertise, and of best practices among all of you participants. We are aware that many of you are facing very similar challenges in different geographical corners of the world. So one idea is that you might also find some inspiration or useful resources for you to possibly replicate. And finally, the ultimate goal of this kind of event is the setup of a European-wide network of pastoral schools. Now, I would also like to quickly go through the agenda today. We have 5 amazing speakers today for 4 different presentations. I will try to be quick because I'm looking forward to leaving the floor to them. The first presentation will be about the connection between livestock keeping and tourism by Frosina Pandurska and Stephanie Gentle. The second one will be more about the connections, the latest updates from the project Linking Biodiversity, Pastoralism and Cultural Heritage by the Carpathian Convention, and it will be Tamara Mitrofanenko presenting it. Finally, the last 2 presentations are coming directly from pastoral schools. So the first one will be about a brand new training module on eco-pastoral diagnostics by Diaz de Quijano. And the final one is about the Terra Maronesa model and a shepherd school of Albao in Portugal by our guest Marco Fernandes. Before we dive deeper into the content of the presentations, I would like to leave the floor to the project coordinator of LIFE ShepForBio, Tommaso Campedelli, so he can tell you a very quick few words about what the project is. Tommaso, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Beatrice, and good morning and welcome everyone. And very, very quickly, just few words about the project, even if I think the most part of you already know the project. Life ShepForBio is a life project co-funded by European Union through the LIFE program. And it started in 2022 and it will finish in 2027. And the main objective of the project is to improve the conservation status of 3 open environmental habitats considered of conservation concern by the Habitats Directive through the involvement of pastoral activities. In few words, grazing, extensive grazing, it's the tool that we use to improve the conservation status of these habitats and improve biodiversity and so on. We have a lot of different activities. For example, 3 years ago, we started with a shepherd school. 2026 will be the fourth year of activity, and with in partnership with Euromontana, we are carry on many activities also at the European level, not only at the Italian level, and among them there are this kind of workshop. This is the third, for example. And we already had 2 international conferences, one in France and one in Spain, and many other activities. Just to stress the next activities on which we are working on. The most important is the next international conference that will be held in Maremma Natural Park in Tuscany, Italy, in September 2026. And we share details in the next month to all participants, all people interested in. And then we start to work at a dossier on the organization of shepherd school in Europe that I think will be released in at the end of 2026. And then other activities related to best practice that we are collected also through this kind of appointment in Europe, and we share with everything through a database that it hosts in our website. I think it's enough. I don't want to take more time. And Beatrice, we can start with the first contribution.
Yes, thank you so much, Tommaso. I think everyone had enough time to save the date already for our next international conference. And before I start introducing the first two speakers, I would just like to inform you that today I'm not alone, but my colleague Valentine Rink-Fauvel is also here with me. She's going to help me in the coordination of this event, and she's going to drop some resources in the chat to help you discover a little bit more about the content of our presentations. Also, each speaker will have about 10 minutes to present their content, and at the end of it, if time allows, we're going to have 5 minutes for questions and answers. If time does not allow, we also have reserved the last 30 to 40 minutes, final minutes of this event to open up the table for discussion. So without further ado, I'm gonna go to the next slide, and I'm really happy to introduce today our first two speakers. Frosina Pandurska is a rural development and empowering communities specialist. She's currently working as a freelance consultant and documentary producer. Stephanie Gentle is a marketing and communication consultant, and she's the co-founder of Pedaling Pictures, which supports, among the various other organizations, a lot of environmental entities. So the floor is yours, and you can tell me when you want me to go to the next slide. All right.
Thank you, Beatrice. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy that today me and Stephanie can join some of our previous experience in traditional shepherding and tourism activities in Balkan region. So without going further into details, I will ask Beatrice just to share with us one beautiful footage. I hope it will be visible for all.
I will try just a second. Okay, I'm about to reshare my screen, and hopefully you will be able to see the footage. Let's see, start sharing. Okay, I will start the video in a second, and I hope you can all hear it. Excellent. And I will go back to the presentation.
Thanks a lot. What you just saw is a short footage of a future short documentary that I'm co-producing together with Billy Offland and Chief Production from UK. And hopefully next spring we will promote it and share it with the public. The idea behind this documentary is actually to show what is happening with traditional shepherding in our region. via life of one family that lives in Shar Mountain, one depopulated rural area, one depopulated village, and the shepherd that you saw is called Leon, and he's kind of a protagonist. Whether our traditional practices will continue or not, we are trying to answer with this short movie. But going further into details about where is this region, as you can see on the map, Shar Mountain is a national park in North Macedonia, also a national park in Kosovo. And this mountainous region is called Shar Korab-Koritnik because we have also a protected area in the Albanian side. And we were working on a cross-border project together with Stephanie a few years ago, and trying to find out ways how to support traditional practices, not only shepherding, but also beekeeping, and other practices typical for the region. So as I said, this region is also a cultural landscape, and the traditional shepherding is connected with sheep breeds typical for the region called Ruda and Sharplanina sheep. So both varieties are very resilient to this region, and shepherds rely on them for meat, milk, cheese, and I cannot say wool anymore because in the last 5 to 8 years we don't have any market for selling the wool, so mostly wool is waste, and it's becoming a big problem for shepherds. So yes, you can go to the next slide, Beatrice. Thank you. Still, when I say transhumans or seasonal shepherding, it is life in our region. It is happening, but it's on the brink of extinction due to many reasons. Usually and traditionally, flocks are going to the summer pastures from May to October. But we have very different situation in the three countries. So when you see this picture, you can see that the left photo from North Macedonia, one of the activities of the project was supporting a farmer with solar panels or improving the conditions for the summer sheepfold for electricity. Then we have one good grazing cattle in Kosovo. There we have a very good examples of good farming practices. But unfortunately in Albania, the conditions were very poor. And this photo that you are seeing here is from one summer sheepfold. So in general, we can say that in the three countries, we have big differences relating state subsidies related to the farmers. Then the number of farms in general is very different. We have, as I mentioned, one sheep variety typical for Albania, and Sharplanina sheep is typical for Macedonia and Kosovo. And then we have a very different situation about the market related to meat. But the biggest challenge that currently happens with the farmers in Macedonia actually now is the availability of labor for the mountain farms, or in general, shepherds are lacking force, and we have a problem that, let's say, the average age of the shepherd in our region, or of a farmer, I would say better, it's 55 years plus, or in some cases even above 60. So young people generally are not seeing these traditional practices as any kind of a future for themselves. And why is this happening? It's not something that happened just now. It's a region related to historical migration many years ago, but the migration rural to urban area is especially very present in the last 2-3 decades. So mainly young people live to the nearby cities, but mostly also to Western European countries. And I would like to say that all this, of course, affects the decline of pastoral activities in the region. And as one historical fact says, on the Shar Mountain on Macedonian side, 1 century ago, we had 1 million sheep grazing. And now in the whole country, we have around 500,000. And if we go only to see what is the number now in Shar Mountain, we can say that around 70,000 sheep are still grazing on Shar Mountain, but the numbers are constantly in decline, as I said. So as you can see on this slide, the migration, then labor shortages, the general conditions on the ground related to poverty, to poor living, bad conditions, and in general slow adjustments to change is happening to the transhumans. As you saw the photos from the countries, in some sheepfolds or the summer pasture conditions, you don't have electricity, you don't have internet, you don't have even mobile data. So you know, it's not surprising that most of the young people don't want to really get involved in continuing the farming practices. But maybe now we can move to the next slide, and I can say that actually what you are doing with your project, and probably all the audience present now from different organizations, is inspiring for us, because let's say that the case in the Balkan countries is that the farming or the traditional shepherding is somehow striving still in the past. So me and Stephanie were very lucky to visit last year one shepherding school and festival called Scuola Giovanni Pastori in Madonia, Sicily, and we were so surprised and inspired how young people from Italy were actually very eager to learn about cheese production, about farming. Some of them were already farmers. Small scale doesn't matter, but for us it was very inspiring to see these steps, and also to think about whether something can be also implemented in our region. So I definitely think that with education, with modernization, and somehow connection with the sustainable and regenerative tourism, actually we can bring some kind of transformation to traditional shepherding. And of course, this is not something that can happen only relying on projects. I strongly believe that it needs to come from local and community initiatives, especially from farmers, but also private companies. For example, I know that in some Western countries, there are companies helping directly the farmers with labor or with equipment, etc. But this is not still present or possible for farmers from the Balkans. And last but not least, definitely long-term state strategies are needed to support rural communities in preserving these traditional practices. So to sum up my part, I would definitely say that I see transhumans as a dinosaur that needs to evolve. I'm not sure whether it will survive the rapid changes happening around it, but I strongly believe that it deserves the change to adapt and to continue. So without going much into philosophing, I will now invite Stephanie Gentle to continue and give you more details about the activities that we actually were doing in scope of the project Sustainable Future for Šarko-Rapkojnik. Thank you.
Thank you, Frosina. I'm Stephanie Gentle, and I'm going to zoom in on this tourism lens. First, I want to say, within the umbrella of the Sustainable Future for Šarko-Rapkojnik project, we led 13 projects across different thematic areas, and 3 primary work packages, which were livestock and beekeeping together in one work package, forest fruits, including medicinal and aromatic plants, and tourism. And these thematic topics were chosen because they overlap naturally in the region, and all of the projects were led by locally identified NGOs representing interests of different farmers, with support from a national organization from each country, as well as guidance and direction from Euronature. Go to the next slide. And why tourism? Why Albania? Albania is trending. It's seen massive growth in visitors in recent years, and actually the travel and tourism sector contributed more to the economy and supported more jobs in 2023 in Albania than any previous year on record. The Albanian government recognizes rural tourism as a new component of the Albanian supply of tourism to improve work opportunities and financial opportunities for rural regions. And this initiative in DIBER is about diversifying, with an emphasis on creating value for farmers, younger generation, as well as for tourists. You can go to the, you see the project results there, and I'll kind of go through the project results quickly. 3 main results were, first, to increase knowledge and capacity about agritourism. Before knowing what actions to take, we had to have a situation analysis to understand the situation across the 3 countries. So we engaged 2 experts on livestock keeping and agritourism to assess the situation and provide recommendations. And a valuable component was visiting agritourism farm in North Macedonia, where this connection between livestock and tourism is already going well. A second condition, you see in the middle, the photovoltaic faults. Frosina mentioned that bringing electricity to farmers was something valuable. In the Korab region, in the Korab alpine pastures, this project brought electricity for the first time to farmers. So one of the things that the situational analysis showed was that the farmers live in poor conditions. You need to give an answer to their basic needs before we can think about tourism. The farmers' basic needs need to be improved, and for them, this primary way was through providing them electricity so they can charge their phones, also be connected to the world. And this tourism aspect was, it wasn't the direct avenue, but it was essentially an avenue to increase the opportunities for local farmers. A lot of these shepherds are located in regions where there are already a lot of hiking trails where tourists naturally pass. And so this idea of combining tourism and offering camping and homemade food and the products that the different shepherds can provide is very, it's a very pleasing option for tourists. And so as part of the project, we worked with local tourism agencies to identify camping as a good option for tourism in this area. We can go to the next slide. And we did have some lessons learned about things that we got right and areas that we can improve. There's definitely a potential for tourism to support the local economies in rural areas. And the main thing is that tourism is not an avenue. Tourism is an avenue. It's not the sole result. First, we need to assess needs of shepherds and their basic needs to be provided for, and then you can think about how diversifying can help to improve their economic situation. And it works well when it's combined with traditional activities that already define an area's identity. And another big positive thing we learned from this project was that the cross-border exchange, the study visits, the knowledge exchange forums with different farmers within the region and this network building was highly valuable. Areas we can improve. Well, one of the things was that 13 projects across 3 countries was really a lot. And moving forward, this will be dialed into perhaps 5. It's like spreading the butter too thin across the bread. The value can be higher if you really focus more deeply on specific farmers and really giving more focus to individual projects. And the other main thing for the tourism aspect specifically is that there does need to be like an intermediary between the shepherds and the tourism agencies. This project is working very well for local tourists, and I think that's a key takeaway within the framework of our project. It is working very well as a very appealing tourism option for Albanian tourists within their region to get to rural areas and to connect with local tourism agencies. However, within the scope of our project, we did not quite get smoothly to make it available for international tourists, because I think just these links, it's not quite working so well. There needs to be either private companies or some intermediary link to go between the shepherds. And I think this is where young people can really step in and see there's an opportunity for young people, I think, to fill in this gap and hopefully co-create a shared vision. Here's our contact information on the next slide. And I will just say that on the next slide, we have provided some resources. If you can just show the next slide. All of these are hyperlinked, so you can right-click and open any of these links to the different partners who are involved, as well as some of the deliverables that we had. And on the very last slide, if you would like, and you can go to the last slide and I'll be closing. This was one of the touristic offers that we had. If you want to camp with shepherds in Dibra, Albania, here's their contact information and the things that they offer. And you're more than welcome. We invite you to go camping in the mountains in Albania. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frosina and Stephanie. I'm already taking some notes for my next summer plans, possibly. There's no time for questions right now, but I would invite anyone who's interested to know more or who has any specific question to note it down and to keep it for later, because at the end of all of these presentations, we're going to open the table for discussion. Now, I will proceed to the next presentation, and I'm happy to introduce our third speaker of today, Tamara Mitrofanenko, who works for the Secretariat of the Carpathian Convention as a senior expert. And indeed, pastoralism is one of the topics that she is coordinating, in addition to science policy practice, collaborations, and education for sustainable goals, for sustainable development. Tamara, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Beatrice, and also thank you, Frosina and Stephanie, for the wonderful presentation. I think you echoed a lot of the challenges of the practicing communities also in the Carpathian region. I will present the project that helped us in the Secretariat Convention to understand a little bit more the links between biodiversity, pastoralism, cultural heritage, and also education for sustainable development. So I will present work done with my colleague Elena Fischer, who is also here in case of questions later, and our expert on cultural heritage from Romania, Ioana Baskerville. Next slide, please. I've already presented the Carpathian Convention at the previous online forum, but also just to give an overview of where the Carpathian Mountain region is located. The 7 countries, Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Serbia, Slovakia, and Ukraine, that are sharing this mountain ecoregion, decided to collaborate together in the framework of a Carpathian Convention to support biodiversity protection and sustainable development of the region. This is a very unique region in Europe, and right now, through working on pastoralism, we're also learning that these unique Carpathian landscapes and also the biodiversity of Carpathian meadows are actually a result of centuries of transhumance and pastoral activities. That's, of course, makes it super important to protect this tradition and support this work. Next slide, please. Now, when we started this work, we did not yet know that, but 2 years ago, we invited shepherds and herders to a meeting of a working group on sustainable agriculture and rural development. So in this case, we're trying to provide a platform for shepherds, herders, and practitioners and experts in this field to meet the governmental experts and the ministries in order to voice their concerns. And a lot of the concerns that Frosina mentioned were also brought by our shepherds to our governments. So thanks to that, we were able to prioritize work on this topic within the Carpathian Convention. Next slide, please. And this is how our project was created that Elena and I developed jointly in close collaboration with our experts. We're collaborating with the Science for the Carpathians network, the Carpathian network of protected areas, and many protected area partners, such as the Carpathian Biosphere Reserve in Ukraine. I didn't list here, but also Retezat National Park in Romania are our experts. And we're trying to build this network between experts on pastoralism, transhumance, and also education for sustainable development. So any of you who are interested to work on this topic in the Carpathian region, please do reach out to us. Next slide, please. In the next slides, I will introduce some of the update on activities that we have reached to date, but also what we're planning to do and where you can also join and contribute. So one of our aims is to strengthen this topic, awareness of these challenges among the governments of the Carpathian Convention, but also strengthen links with other international mechanisms, such as the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists, that helps to raise profile of these topics to the governments, and that helps them to listen when representatives of the pastoral communities are coming to the table. So I'm happy to report on one of the results. We just came back from the meeting of the implementation committee of the Carpathian Convention that took place in Serbia just yesterday and the day before, where one of the official recommendations was that we work together and address the needs of shepherds and herders. You will, if you're interested to access, they will have, of course, all of the documents available in our presentations from that meeting. But we will also have some of the upcoming events where these topics can be raised. One is going to be the working group on sustainable tourism. So Stephanie presented these links between tourism and pastoralism, of course, are also relevant for the Carpathians. This working group will take place in March in Poland. You can find information in the near future on our Carpathian Convention webpage. If you're interested, please let us know. All of our working groups are open to observers, where you can bring in concerns, inputs, meet our stakeholders and our experts. We will also have a seminar on education for sustainable development in Serbia, where we want to highlight the educational needs of shepherds and herders, our communities. So also where we would be very glad to collaborate if you would like to present, come join us there. And we planned a working group on biodiversity probably in the end of the spring, where, of course, links between pastoralism and biodiversity will be highlighted. So please stay tuned for these events. Next slide, please. Another important activity of the project was linking pastoralism with intangible cultural heritage and UNESCO lists. This is another aspect that helps raise profile of these practices and the safeguarding of these practices at the national and international level. Our colleagues in Romania, Dr. Ioana Bascavil, was the coordinator of this extension of the multinational file, Transhumance, the seasonal droving of livestock. This file was developed and submitted in March by a number of countries. You can see the countries who already participated above, and Albania was one of them. Romania was another one. And the new countries joined, several of them, including 4 other Carpathian countries. So the importance of this is that in order to nominate it internationally, the countries have to also inscribe it at the national level. That means there is a recognition at the national level. This is coordinated by the cultural ministries of this practice. And jointly with the Carpathian countries, we decided to try and develop another file safeguarding Carpathian pastoralism to submit to the Register of Good Practices. The reason for that is that in 2 countries, Czech Republic and Hungary, transhumance is no longer practiced in the Carpathian region. So it's no longer a living heritage, but we also know that it's possible to revive it. So we hope that through this joint nomination, we can do it. So of course, collaborations are welcome on this. Next slide, please. I mentioned that the importance of this nomination is that there is a safeguarding plan. And the safeguarding plan also includes measures such as, awareness raising and recognition, but also vocational educational training and generational renewal, strengthening the economic dimensions such as product valorization, links with biodiversity. So these are also important to address the needs of shepherds and herders. And this is one of the reasons why we're also investing work in this cultural heritage file. We see the synergies with the needs of pastoral communities. Next slide, please. In addition to this, we're also collaborating on knowledge exchange. We're trying to bring together the expert community from the Carpathian region, but also from beyond. So in this case, we're very happy to be in touch with the LIFE ShepForBio project because, of course, we have mutual interests. So we've held a couple of sessions, scientific sessions, where the needs of pastoral communities and the challenges of promoting and safeguarding pastoralism were raised. One of them was Forum Carpathicum. This is a regional scientific conference of the Science for the Carpathians network. You're also welcome to look at it. We're happy to share the link to this conference as well. And we were also together with our colleagues from Euromontano and LIFE ShepForBio organizing a session during the International Mountain Conference. So raising the importance of this topic at the international mountain community. From both of these conferences, we received recommendations, and I will present them in the next slides. But I also wanted to inform you just one back about the multifunctional farming conference that took place, was organized by our colleagues in Rzeszów University. This was an international conference, not only focused on pastoralism, but on a wide range of smallholder and multifunctional farming practices. These colleagues, together with the participants, developed a manifesto. You can see the QR code that links to the manifesto, and the organizers will also share this link. They also contain some of the recommendations. So I invite you to also look at it and perhaps also sign it and support it from your side. Now, we can go to the next slide. Thank you, Beatrice. Some of the recommendations that resulted from this exchange with this Carpathian and international research and practitioner community probably will not surprise you, many of them, but still I would like to share them with you. So one was that the national subsidies and EU subsidies should be not linked only to land ownership, but also to the use of the land. We know that many shepherds are not owning the land, but are hired. And as Frosina mentioned, we also share this challenge of the lack of skilled laborers. So in that case, training opportunities are extremely important. Another recommendation was the importance of protecting transhumance routes and ensures the access. This was also important in terms of nature protection. We know that protected areas can also pose barriers for transhumance. Another one probably also linked to tourism is food and tradition, that the sanitary regulations should also understand and align with traditional gastronomy models and also provide brands accordingly. No one of you probably will be surprised about the importance of traditional ecological knowledge and its importance for biodiversity conservation. We will also suggested strongly that this informal knowledge should be recognized, because we know that even some of the existing shepherd schools may not provide a certification that's recognized by the systems, but there's also the passing down of knowledge within families that also is extremely important and must be recognized. And of course, education and the importance of educational measures were highlighted. And here also posted some of the recommendations from the Multifunctional Farming Conference, and again a link to the manifesto, where also the importance of legal frameworks was stressed, and the relaxing the bureaucratic constraints for shepherds. Next slide, please. A couple of more recommendations. This is just a picture to visualize the recommendations that resulted from the Science for the Carpathians Forum Carpathicum conference on many topics, including pastoralism. Most of these recommendations come from this volume. We will be glad to share the link with you. One of the recommendations was, of course, on the recognition of shepherds. We know that in many Carpathian countries, they do not enjoy very high status. A lot of people look down on shepherds. There are even jokes integrated in the language that denounces them, does not respect them. Of course, this is something that must be changed, including through educational measures. But we were also suggested that multimodal documentation should be used to document the heritage and the knowledge of shepherds, and also this intangible sensory heritage of pastoralism. This was a contribution also from our cultural heritage experts that must be recognized and transferred. Of course, the recognition and protection of traditional cultural landscapes, that's something that we believe is unique to the Carpathian region, but I'm certain that, for example, in the Balkan region, there are also unique landscapes that were shaped by these traditional practices. And again, another recommendation from the Multifunctional Farming Conference, specifically for support necessary for herders and shepherds to continue with these practices. One very important recommendation specifically for international processes such as ours was that when we're translating the knowledge of shepherds and herders, we need to make sure that it's properly represented. Because of course, when we're talking at the international regional level, we try to translate it in a way that's understandable for the ministries, but we have to make sure or do it knowingly to make sure that their messages are not transformed. Next slide, please. I have to be very well aware of the time. So very briefly, other recommendations were about paying for ecosystem services. It's not an easy one, but something that we have to continue trying to push jointly. Guidelines were requested from our protected areas for how to also manage grazing and grazing quotas for protected areas. We received recommendations for coexistence with wildlife. We know it's a big challenge in the Carpathians, and a lot of the challenge actually comes from the lack of dialogue and bringing together the knowledge of shepherds and the wildlife protection community. And another recommendation focused on tourism was the Wallachian culture trail that could be also an important way of promoting and safeguarding this tradition. And as a future plan, jointly with the Euromontana and European Academy, we would really like to now see how we can address the needs of herders, perhaps also through the EU Common Agricultural Policy. We understand it will not be easy, but at least we want to try to work jointly on that. Next slide, please. And finally, the last part of our work is strengthening awareness, education, training resources. Carpathian Day is one way of creating this awareness. We will share the link to that. Please check it out. And if you're in the Carpathians, please register your activities and consider planning them. Next year, we will focus it on International Year of Rangers and Pastoralists. But what we also want to do in the Carpathian region, and here we would really rely on the knowledge of our experts, is we want to understand existing informational and educational resources, linking pastoralism and biodiversity. Next slide, please. And we also want to understand what possibilities for educational resources exist, but also how shepherds are portrayed in the existing curricula. So this is something where we're planning to work on still next year. And here I want to promote a very important event from the International Year of Rangers and Pastoralists, and specifically from Spain, that will organize a global gathering of pastoralists and also invite young pastoralists that are able to continue their practices, that have come up with an inspiring idea of continue these practices, to share this experience. So if you are interested to support and send your shepherds and pastoralists to this event, please do consider that. I believe Francesca Passetti is here, and please get in touch with the International Year of Rangers and Pastoralists to join this important event. Next slide, please. And with this, I would like to close and thank you very much for your attention. And here is just a nice graphic developed by students from Leuphana University that were also very inspired by pastoralism practices and its challenges in the Carpathian region. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Tamara. This was really comprehensive and inspiring. It's great to get all of these updates. Thanks also for mentioning the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralism. I noticed that there were already a couple of questions and comments in the chat. Thanks a lot, and keep sharing them. Right now, we don't have time for a Q&A right after each presentation because we're running a few minutes late, but that's not a problem. We still have the last 30 to 40 minutes of this meeting dedicated to discussion. So I'm taking notes of everything. I also invite who just presented to keep an eye on the chat because I think some of these questions might be directly addressed to you. And okay, I stopped sharing my screen and I will introduce the next speaker. It's Maria Diaz de Quijano, and she is the co-coordinator of the School of Shepherds from Catalonia on the Spanish side of the Pyrenees. So Maria, the floor is yours.
Yes, you see well my presentation. Yeah,
perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to explain you a new training module that we have developed in the framework of an Erasmus Plus project. It's an Erasmus Plus project of a small-scale partnership cooperation. It's called eco-pastorali, and the two partners that we are in this project, it's us, the School of Shepherds of Catalonia, located in the Pyrenees, in the Catalan Pyrenees, but in Spain. And then we have the CFPPA Ariège-Comminges, which is in southern France, in the Pyrenees as well. So we are both in the same border. We are very close to each other. And this project, it's to promote an extensive livestock breeding, more sustainable. It's 2 years project. It's going to end now at December this year. And the objective is to train our shepherds from both schools to put in practice this eco-pastoral management of the mountains with the aim of safeguarding the fodder resources, conserving biodiversity, and also to adapt and mitigate the effects of climate change. So this project has 3 main activities. The first one was to train the teaching staff of both schools in the methodology of pastoral diagnostics. We did several seminars with experts from organizations that do the technical work of these diagnostics. And we have also used a lot the La Pastothèque. It's a book that it goes from one pastoral habitat from another one, from the mountains, the Mediterranean mountains. And it explains a lot very deeply and concretely the functionality, the pastoral functionality, how it can be used by shepherds and by the animals, not by shepherds themselves. No? Also the vegetation dynamic and also biodiversity conservation issues linked to each habitat, and also how we can do a management that it takes into account climate change effects. And so we did several seminars to improve our teaching capacities. Then the second activity was to create this new module, which now we did the pilot testing of this module, but the idea is that it becomes a training module in both trainings in southern France and in our school. So that it means that between 125, 145 students will be trained with this methodology in the next 5 years. And so these are the images of the training module. And then finally, we have the last activity was to communicate and disseminate the results of this project. And that's what we are doing today here, but we have also done it in Territorios Pastoreados. It's a Spanish national meeting of pastoralism. And also we are doing it in France in different networks. So you have all the information in the website. It's a very simple website where it explains the project itself, the objectives, the activities, and the results. And then if you go to this would be the first page, but if you go to the down in the page, you can see, you can access to the training module itself. And now it's available in English, in Spanish, Catalan, and in French. But I must say that actually the good translations are in Catalan and in French, because these are the materials that we are using. But we also translated it in English and in Spanish, because Erasmus Plus, the agency, kind of encourage us to do it. But in case you are interested in using it in either English or Spanish, maybe it's not a very good translation, so just tell us because we can do it better. And so first of all, in this training module, you have this pedagogical guide. It's a guide to implement this training. So you have first a general introduction to the module, the context and foundations, then the objectives. The objectives to tell you it's that our students understand the concept and the methodology of an eco-pastoral diagnosis, and so that they are able to assess this availability and of the feeding resources in the mountains, in the summer pastures. And we also want them to identify these interactions between grazing, biodiversity conservation, and other uses of the natural areas, such as, for example, tourism or also the coexistence with wildlife. And then the objective is that our students understand all this and they can do some propositions of improvements to manage these summer pastures in the way that they take into account all these factors. Then in this pedagogical guide, you will also see, we say there are some prior requirements and recommended knowledge to have before doing this training. Actually, we do it in our 1 year long training. So it's a very little part of our training, but it means that before doing this eco-pastors training module, our students have done a lot of different things. So they have a lot of basics. And then the pedagogical guide, it says how to use the module. A little bit, well, it says the structure and the duration. It presents the available materials and how they can be adapted to each context. And then it gives a detailed description of the training units with the objectives, the key concepts, the method and development, the estimated time, and the materials. So here you have an overview of the training units. We start with an introduction, then introduction of the eco-pastoral diagnosis, then we do a presentation of the summer grazing area, and then we start with the 4 different phases or steps of the eco-pastoral diagnostic. So the first step is to assess these resources. Then the second one is to analyze how the resources are used by the animals, and we have different training units to do this. Then the third step is to identify these complementary challenges, that is these biodiversity interactions, and also with wildlife and tourism. And then the last step is to do this proposal of improvements of how to manage the summer grazes, taking into account all these factors. So this is what, until here, it was the pedagogical guide, but then you have the learner's booklet. Here it's the, let's say, the guide that our students will have when they are in the field and doing the training module. So they are following this material and we go step by step. For example, at the first step of the eco-pastoral diagnosis, they do this, they calculate the availability of resources. So they have a map and we have to walk and go to several pastoral habitats and identify which they are and what are the available resources. So in the end, they will have to somehow calculate the total resources. Then we'll analyze how they are being grazed. So we have another map with the paths that the animals follow during the whole season, and they will need to know how many animals do each path and how many animals they are. And then we have the third step, which is what it interests us the most here, in this conference. I guess it's to identify these other interests. So we work with 3 different aspects. The we work with the habitats of community interest. So we tell them which ones we found in this mountain and how we have to take care of them when we are pasturing with our animals. Then we talk about the threatened flora and fauna. So in this case, we have done this part with in collaboration with the natural park, so that we can tell them how they should manage the flock of animals in order to take care of this threatened flora and fauna. And then we also do an interview with the shepherd that works in this summer pasture, so that she can tell us about the problems that she has with the birds, but also with tourists. And then the final step is this proposal of improvements, and we do it following a guide of questions that takes into account all what they have already been looking before. And during this discussion, we count with the shepherds that work in the mountain and also the technicians from the natural park where we are. And so finally, well, we have done this this year, as a pilot test, and these are some pictures of this year in the mountain, doing the different activities and working with the shepherds and the livestock breeders as well, that they come once a week. And well, what our students said that, well, I have just put some of the comments, but we had La Pastothèque, as I told you, this book, the reference book, but we only had some translated parts, and because we didn't have yet the agreement from the editor, but they are looking forward, our students are looking forward to have it all completely translated. And also what they say is that one of our students said that it was interesting to promote this, and that it's of interest from both the shepherds and the environment where we work. And I would say that that's all.
Sorry, there are some participants that are not muted. I'm gonna mute them very quickly. Sorry, Mario.
It's okay, but I'm finished.
All right. Thank you so much. This was a really insightful presentation, and it looks like a lot of work. So congrats for doing all these test pilots. It was really cool to hear about that. I also noted that there are still other comments in the chat, and I take this opportunity to let everyone know that everything that is being presented today will be shared with you in the form of a report that we're going to prepare after this meeting, and potentially we might be able to share with you in January. I said this at the beginning of the meeting, but I would like to repeat it again in case anyone missed it. In this report, we would like to add all the notes, all the presentations, but I think it would be very important if we could also share the contacts of the participants, because we really want to make sure that these kind of meetings result in a good networking activity for all the participants. Of course, to share the context, I need your permission because it would be the full name and possibly also the email address. So in case someone would not appreciate this, which is completely fair and fine, please let us know either by writing in the chat or by reaching out bilaterally, and we will not add your contact to the report, to the final report. Also, I would like to drop in the chat another event for the Spanish speaking participants that is going to take place in the next week, organized by IUCN, and I think the thematics might be interesting for all of you. Now, I will again share my screen just in a second. All right, you should be able to see it. And I'm happy to introduce our next speaker, Marco Fernandes. Marco has a master in organic agriculture and is a farmer researcher in the agroecology and extensive livestock sector. So his expertise is mainly focused on this topic, as well as sustainable landscape management, agro-silvopastoral systems, and training and capacity building. He is currently involved in many different initiatives, but among them there is Aguiar Floresta and the Life Maronesa project, which is exactly what we're gonna listen to today. Marco, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, and it's an honor to be here. So I'm going to present the Portuguese case of the Shepherd School of Alvão and the model that underpins it, an example of how pastoralism can be a powerful tool for regenerating Mediterranean mountains territory in crisis. So next slide, please. My name is, like I said, Beatrice. Thank you for the invitation. Tommaso, thank you for the invitation. My name is Marco Fernandes. I'm from Portugal. We are located in the north of the country, in the mountain region. So Portugal is a small country, but with a lot of diverse of landscapes. So we're going to talk about the north of Portugal. Next slide, please. So let's start with the context. Our Mediterranean mountains are at serious risks. Okay, we face the perfect storm of challenges. This is a starting point for our story. A crisis that I believe is familiar to many of you, principally in the south countries of Europe. The crisis that I believe the abandoned rural areas in the southern Europe is leading to a disappearance of the shepherd, the traditional landscape manager. Without them, the fuel loads accumulate and our mountains become tinderboxes. The result, catastrophic. High intensity wildfires that recur with frightening frequency. The ecological cost is immense. There's a loss of biodiversity, loss of soil carbon, and the collapse of fertility. Our historical pastoral landscapes is literally and figuratively burning. So the image that you see on this slide shows you the landscape of Portugal burning and a landscape managed by cows. Next slide, please. And the bullet points are rural abandonment, disappearance of the shepherd management, fuel accumulation, catastrophic wildfires, ecological degradation. What the key message? Our historical pastoral landscape is collapsing. Next slide, please. This wasn't always the case. You see it in that picture in black and white. Our landscape is not historical a forest landscape. Portugal has been, since the beginnings, a land of shepherds, where the use of fire for pastoral purpose and earth shapes our mountains. These historical photos show that these landscapes once here diverse, grazed and managed ecosystem maintained by the synergy of fire and grazing. This is the balance we lost. Next slide, please. Face this challenge, our response was to organize. We are the Terra Maronesa Association, a community of practice born in 2018. We formalized a network that brings together breeders, technicians, and communities. And the local communities are the key joint of here. We work at the bottom up, not up down, okay? Our vision is to act as a living laboratory for a new balance between people, animals, and nature. And our starting point was a powerful local asset, the native Maronesa cattle breed, and the hyper-extensive breeding system that was already showing great potential. Next slide, please. We redefined the system into what we call the Maronesa model, built in 4 pillars. The first was freedom and self-sufficient. Animals live freely all year, and their fat is produced within the farm system. Second was holistic animal welfare. They express national behavior, and we observed complex defensive strategies against predators like wolf. And third, a radical efficiency. These systems allows one shepherd to manage up 100 cows, drastically lowering costs and improving margins. And the fourth, the key ecological innovation, was the pyrrhic herbivory, the synergy integration of grazing with prescribed fire. This isn't just traditional farming, it's a deliberate and regenerative design. Next slide, please. You see there our model. We have at the top the temple grading management for the cattle. You see animals in the mountain, you see goats in the mountain, you see little points of water up in the mountain. This point of water is 1,000 meters, and was the shepherds that treat them. And next slide, please. This model creates a powerful virtuous circle with measurable benefits. On the environment side, it promotes soil carbon sequestration, increased pastures productivity by over 300%, actively managed fuels to prevent wildfires, and boosts biodiversity, social economic and increased breeders' income, revitalize the shepherding profession, and helps to retain youth in the territory. Next slide, please. The graph you see it in there is the real conversion of the farm to our system. You see at the top down the actual plan, and you see the top up the plan of the model, the Maronesa model, with the same number of animals, with the same amount of hectares of land, and the productivity with our model is better. It's okay. Next slide, please. So we have a successful model, but how to escalate? The missed piece was capacity building, the training, to train the next generation of ecosystem management. We created a Shepherd School of Albão. It is a partnership between our association, Terra Maronesa, FERA, the National Federation of Autochthonous Breeders, and local municipalities, and if is possible, to private enterprises. His core objective is to train entrepreneurs in what we call climate positive extensive pastoralism. Next slide. So what does a modern shepherd school teach? Okay, the curriculum was a strong environmental focus. Remember, shepherds are landscape managements, are not just shepherds. They promote ecosystem service, they promote biodiversity. They want the landscape to be the more resilient, the more productive, and the beautiful they can be, okay? So it covers the soil fertility and pasture management, the practice of prescribed fire, our periodic herbivory in action, the role of the wolf in the ecosystem for predator coexistence, carbon and ecosystem service management, and of course, animal welfare and health as a central pillar. The methodology is learning by doing, with most sessions held in the model farms alongside experienced breeders. The next slide, please. You see there some photos of a shepherd school. You see some of the actions that we promoted and the photo. Next slide, please. This approach gained international attention. Our Life Maronesa project was selected by the UNCCD as a good practice in grassland management. Our climate positive brand, Clima Mais, is which certifies positive climate impact, is now being adopted by breeders of other native Portuguese breeders, and we are participating, sorry, in European networks like this one, because we believe we have something to contribute to the wider debate on the future of pastoralism in Europe. Next slide, please. So, by conclusion, what the lessons from the Portuguese case that we can share? First, success starts with a regenerative and economical viable livestock model. The economic must work for the breeders. Second, practical training is crucial to scale these natural-based solutions. Third, we must work to reintegrate the shepherd as a legitimate landscape management with environmental policies on fire, carbon, and biodiversity. This brings me to your bridge to this forum debate. How can we create strong synergies among European pastoral schools to tackle this common challenge together? We are eager to learn from your experts. Next slide, please. Thank you for your attention. I invite you to visit our website of Terra Maronesa, o site da Life Maronesa, clima mais positivo, clima more positive, you can say. The Shepherd School, you can send an email to this email address, social media, whatever you want. Please contact us. We are open to all the communities. We are open to all shepherds, all pastoralism, all tourists. Everyone can join us. We want to join as to promote pastoralism in Europe. Thank you very much. Next slide. You see there the Maronesa cows as ecosystem service animals. They are a pasture Quercus pyrenaica landscape.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Marco. Really a great presentation. I love to see how many synergies there are with our project ShepForBio. And I also really liked how you transition from explaining this innovative model and then explaining that we need to pass it on to the next generations for this to make sense, right? So yeah, this was fantastic. And I take this opportunity before we open the discussion to say a big thank you for all the presenters today, because their contributions were really inspiring. At least for me, I found them great. And I really hope that our audience did as well. In the agenda, originally, now there would have been a couple of minutes for a quick break, but if everyone is okay with this, I would just skip it and go straight to the discussion. I noted down some questions in the chat, and I also have some questions myself, yet I would give priority to anyone currently attending the meeting who would like to share any question or comment or spontaneous contribution with me, with the rest of the participants and the speakers. So I know it was a lot to take in. I will stop talking for a second, and amazing, I already see the first hands are raised. So the first one is Francesca Pasetti. So Francesca, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for organizing this meeting. I think it's really, really very, very important that we all in Europe, at least beginning with Europe, we know what is going on. For those who don't know me, I'm working for Fundación Transhumancia y Naturaleza on transhumans, and I'm the co-chair for Europe for the International Year of Ranger and Pastoralists. So I appreciated a lot all of you here. And I just have some small things to say concerning the global gathering. I would be pleased to have, of course, also Portuguese and all the countries that we have here, huh? Not only the Carpathian Convention, of course, but we will open it will be in April, the web page, and I'm looking for young pastoralists who have an interesting story to tell of something successful. Yeah, so I let you, and I'm short we are short of money, and I would like to have, if possible, that the people can pay themselves that trip, the venue and the hosting and the catering during the day will be provided, but we need the people, if possible, to pay their trip. So in Europe, it's not too expensive. It's expensive for the Latin American and Indian and so on. So I would like to thank you for this LIFE project. I'm working in Ecotrans, and I would very much like, Maria, to be in contact with you. You are working with the CFPPA of Saint-Gaudens or the other one? Which one?
Saint-Giron.
Saint-Giron. I think we are really doing very similar thing, and I think would be very important to have a contact. Yes. I would like to have access to these pedagogical guides you were talking about, and the Pastothèque and so on. And well, I could have more things, but I think I let other people the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Francesca, for your input. Everything is well noted. And I see there is another hand raised, is Slavica Samartzis. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. If not, please correct me.
It's okay. It's okay. For the first, thank you very much for allowing me to listening this topic. I have to say that for a long time I haven't listened so many good presentations subsequently. Each of participants who intervened today is just excellent. So guys, thank you. And I wanted to share with you that I'm leader of Slow Food Trebinje Herzegovina chapter. We are part of the international movement, and we are dealing with this topic for almost 15 years. So now we have one big European Horizon project where we are trying to connect rural tourism and all products from our shepherds. And previously we have created part of cheese and honey of East Herzegovina, and I heard that somebody of you has mentioned that every party is welcome like observer. So we are very keen to become a part of this your project and this network. That's all what I want to share with you, and it would be very useful for our farmers and for our researchers in the same time. Also, we have some very good practices and we would like to share them with you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much also for this contribution. It's noted from this department of slow food. That's excellent. Is there any other question or comment or reaction from our speakers? I see Barnabé Achard from a school in Savoie. There is another hand raised. Barnabé, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for the presentations. It was just to mention some how to say, new pastoral activities here. The 5 historical shepherding school of France have now the same diploma. It's since this week. We will have the same, not necessarily the same training course, but the same diploma, and we are working on the being more working in network with one national association of the shepherd school, the French National School of Shepherding. What to say else? We are working also on videos of pastoral knowledge transmission with Alice, who is online too, which is kind of similar with the Spanish Ariège project, but yeah, to have it will be in French, so that is not necessarily will not necessarily enrich everyone here, but we are trying to fix and transmit some technical knowledge, like make I missed vocabulary. And we're working also on short courses, even if we have 6 months or a year long courses, long training course for shepherding. We also know that many shepherds get into the activity without any training, and for these shepherds we are trying to unlock the difficulties of having some short training courses on healing or dog learning. So that's some projects in France.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Barnabé, for all these insights. And in case you have any link or resource connected to what you just presented. We're really happy to use the chat as a very spontaneous repository. I see there is another hand raised, and after that, there is a comment in the chat from someone who cannot activate their microphone. So I will take care of reading the comment. But first, Dr. Hazrat Arjumend, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, dear friends. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. My name is Hasrat Arjumend. I Grassroots Institute in Canada. My question is, in the first and second presentations, there were the references of the farming, livestock farming. To me, it seems like the shepherds are either considered or they are treated like the sedentarized farmers. So the pastoralism, in my understanding, pastoralism is not farming. Pastoralists are not the farmers. Sedentarized animal keepers or sedentarized agricultural farmers, they are usually known as the farmers, or their systems are known as the farming systems. Whereas the pastoralism is completely different from intensive farming systems. So pastoralists are mostly the mobile people and movement in a cyclic manner, visibility, as well as having of the traditional wisdom. So on the contrary, in our understanding, the farming systems are not so, because the farming systems are mostly the sedentarized systems, confined in one small territory or big territory, but they are not moving from one place to the other. And there are the debates, even under the IYRP movement, a lot of discussions going on, whether the agro-pastoralist, even IID has also raised these concerns over the term of agro-pastoralists. So whether the farmers are should be called like pastoralists, or they should be called as the farmers. So I'm really confused from your couple of presentations.
Yeah. Thank you for the intervention and for the question. The Wi-Fi was a little bit off sometimes, but I took some notes and I understood that your point is mainly about this difference between farmers and shepherds, how they are defined, and actually how this definition is represented in the first two presentations we had today. I see Frosina has already raised her hand, so I will first give the floor to her as a reaction to this first comment. Frosina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Beatrice. Just to clarify that all the examples in our presentation, so the first presentation, we are talking about seasonal shepherding, so 6 months summer pasture, so they are moving, and hopefully still we have this seasonal grazing in our countries. So we don't have presented in any of the slides typical farming. Thank you.
No, the term is farming. Often you have used the term farming.
Yeah,
what
maybe no problem. Maybe it was just terminology. Yeah.
Yes.
If I can follow up as well, in the Balkans region, and particularly in Albania, the example that I was sharing, there are no large-scale farms. The average farm is 2 hectares or less, and shepherds, as Tamara and as Frosina has mentioned, it is seasonal, and families must develop self-sustaining family agriculture in conjunction with livestock transhumance. And so in the Balkans region, it's seasonal. During the some seasons, they are doing shepherding, but during the autumn, they're gathering nuts or working with medicinal plants that they gather, or wild herbs, fruits. It's never, it is just, there's not the capability to only do pastoralism year round as well as farming. So everything is small scale, family in conjunction with pastoralism in our region.
No, I think we are also working in Albania for last 1 year. I have been intensively working
in the regions where we are working. This is the situation.
No. The thing is that of course, the people have movements, and in some areas, the Albanian government is restricting. There are a lot of struggle is going on between the shepherds and the government people. Okay, so still the people are moving into the landscapes away from their homes. But at the same time, in some pasture areas, particularly in the slopey mountains, they have if they have their small huts, like that is the transitory stay at for time. So they have small fields. I have seen myself. I have studied that they have small crop fields they created over the years, and they have been cultivating like potato or like the maize, depending on the season. So that is there, very small scale. But like on the same at the same time, there are many livestock farmers sitting in the villages having and they have been cultivating the crops as well as they have been keeping the animals. So that is also the case. There are the farmers, no doubt. There are the livestock farmers nearby in the villages. But at the same time, there are the pastoralists going long distances into the highlands, and they have been moving in cyclic manner. They are the real pastoralists, and we should say that is the pastoralism. While as the animal keeping at one place is not a pastoralism. This should be clear. Okay. So in your deliberations, please clarify whether you are focusing on farming or you are focusing on pastoralism. This is just my contention. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Hazrat. I know that Antonio Franca also raised his hand, but I will give the floor first to Tamara. Because this comment was addressing the first two presentations. So I will leave first the floor to Tamara.
All right. Just to, I want to clarify the confusion, but I also think that we need to move on from this topic. But I think a lot of smallholder practitioners in the mountain region facing very similar challenges. And we see that these challenges, I think, are very similar from the Carpathian to the Balkans to the Spain and Portugal. So I'm really excited about this exchange. I did want to say that sometimes both sedentary and mobile forms of this practice are facing also some similar challenges, and we understand that this is the lack of subsidies, sometimes not being visible in comparison with the bigger producers. And this is also something that our colleagues, I think, in the multifunctioning farming conference were addressing. We did include also shepherds and herders as target groups in this conference and its results. So this is the case where I think jointly we can address a number of concerns and a number of challenges of stakeholders from this region. And just a brief question I have, but we can also perhaps give the floor to answer them after Antonio's comment, because I see he's patiently waiting. I'm curious about the materials presented by Maria and Marco, because of course they're very inspiring. And Maria, you mentioned that a part of it has been already translated. And I'm wondering if you're planning to translate also more, because of course I would be curious if we're able to adapt this maybe to the Carpathian region and Carpathian communities. And Mark, also in your case, you focused on fire prevention. We understand that this is also a challenge in the Carpathian forests. That's where I wonder to which extent silvopastoral practices could also be a way to create this natural infrastructure for fire prevention. And I wonder to which case you would imagine that your materials created for your specific northern Portugal case may be also relevant to, in other regions. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tamara, for the questions. So I give the floor first to Maria and then to Marco. After this, I'm gonna take both the question, which is written in the chat, as well as the one from Antonio.
Yes, we have all the materials are translated now. We have them in French and in Catalan. These are the good translations because they are the ones that we are using it, but they are in English and Spanish as well. These are not very good translations. We did it because Erasmus Plus wants us to translate them. But since we are not using them and we don't know if there will be other people who will use them, we didn't want to spend a lot of time and money to translate them. So they are like this. So that's why I told you, if you are interested, just tell me, because there might be some things that are not understandable, so we can do it better. And so this is in general, but La Pastotec, we have a traduction in Catalan only. The book, it's in French. And the translation that we did it was in Catalan for our students. And because, of course, in France, they already have it, they have the book. And in Catalan, only in Catalan, because we only had the agreement from the editor to translate it in Catalan. So I guess that if you are interested to translate it in other languages, it's as easy as to ask the editor and to say that you are using this for training objectives, and they are very nice and helpful with this, and they will be okay, I guess. It's okay? Yeah? Perfect.
So Tamara, where I begin. Portugal have a problem with the mountains. So the rural abandonment that we suffered for long of the years, the shepherds abandoned the mountains. So the mountains were accumulating a lot of shrubs, a lot of brooms, and we have a lot of plantation of Pinus pinaster. So the regime of the fire that we have in the past, that was we call it the good fire, that is mainly do it in the winter. They transferred this fire to the summer with a lot of intensity and a lot of recurrence. So we have a lot of recurrence of fires, 2 and 2 years, 3 and 3 years in the same zone. So the mountains were left without any animals. The animals came out of the mountains, came to the valley, to the meadows, near to the houses, and then the mountain will accumulate a lot of fuel, and we fire. So in this moment, fire or wildfires are a national problem and a national concern. So we take this problem and tell him and show to the politicians and to the scientific and academics personnel that if you put the animals again and in the mountains, you go to contribute to reduce this fuel. Take the shrubs and the brooms. By the animals, the cows and the goats and the sheep eat brooms and eat shrubs. Okay, not just herbaceous biomass. The animals eat shrubs and brooms. So the animals can control the biomass, the height of the biomass, and by consequence, the fire is not so catastrophic. So we're showing the politicians that if you take the shepherds, take the value of the shepherds, social and cultural, the shepherds can be paid by diverse service and ecosystem service, you can promote shepherds again in the mountains. Take the youth people that came to the cities and promote them to take the rural areas. So this model that we have is proven, okay, and we have a model that you can take this model and put in other areas of Europe. For example, the Spanish have the problem with fires. Galicia is near from our zone. All Europe saw the wildfires problem that we have in August in Portugal and France and Spain. so it was our zone. Our animals are in that area, but where the animals stands, the fire was low. Okay, when there are no animals, the fire is uncontrollable. Okay, you can control that type of fire. No one can control this type of fire. Okay, the immense of energy that this fire take to the field is no one can control this type of fire. Okay, so with animals in our mountains, we can take some of the biomass of the shrub and brooms biomass. With that, we can manage our landscapes, take the wildfire risks down. Okay, it will burn. We cannot assure that if you have animals, you don't have fire. It's not possible to do that. Okay, if anyone says that you have animals, your field doesn't fire, is lying to you. Okay, I'm very honest with all of you. So if you say if you had animals, your landscape will not burn, is lying to you. Okay, so but if you have animals, you can reduce your wildfire risk and promote biodiversity and promote ecosystem service, and you can pay your shepherd the service that they are giving to the society. Our urban societies must know that if you pay a shepherd to control the biomass on the landscape, is paying a service to the community. Okay, the shepherd is not doing this by free. Is not someone tells, okay, a shepherd can't control the mountains. Okay, but who pays my control of the mountain? Okay, who pays my social service to the society? Okay, can you pay me? The government pay me to promote the loss of biomass in the landscape, promote biodiversity, promote ecosystem service? But you can take our model, you can put it in other parts of the Europe, or if of the world, maybe, because our forests are Mediterranean climate, but is capable. Is the south of Europe are a continuous of climate in this moment. So you can take our model and you put it in your place or with your shepherds. It's very simple to do it. We have a model. They see it with a specialist, and they work with the farmer or the shepherd, whatever you want to call it, multi-diverse farmers, agricultural diverse systems, ecological diverse, ecological service farming, shepherds, whatever you want to call it. But you can take our model and apply it in your zone, and I'm pleased to send you our model if you want it. If you want to visit, come. We are open to everyone. Sorry.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, both of you.
I'm really happy also how this meeting is actually fostering a lot of options for travel and joint visits. So that's also great. Thanks a lot for these contributions. I will now give the floor to Antonio Franca, and then also I'm going to read out a question in the chat from Ilaria Parente. So Antonio, the floor is yours.
Ciao everyone, I'm Antonello Franca from Italy, from Sardinia. I'm representing the Italian network on pastoralism, the Rete Appia here, and Tamara and Marco have anticipated most of the things I was going to tell, particularly regarding the importance of shepherding in providing ecosystem services. And this is, for me, in the last 20, 30 years, is the real fundamental topic that we are going to face just for achieving, for shepherding a future, and not only in Mediterranean countries, but I think all over the world. So, I would say only that for me, pastoralism is pastoralists are shepherds that produce food and provides ecosystem services. So the combination of food and ecosystem services is, in my opinion, the new scenario of pastoralism and shepherding for the future. And what we have to do as researchers, as technicians, as of course shepherds and farmers, is to sustain as much as we can this idea, this scenario, particularly in the for the forthcoming year on the rangelands and pastoralists of 2026. So for me it's very, very exciting to have all the people here talking about the same thing. And I would say that I hope that the next year will be fundamental for making our policymakers more close to our ideas and our scenarios, because this is another thing that we have to underline. So in so many cases, in all the countries, there is a very great distance between us and between policymakers. So this is a gap that we have to fill in some way. And I hope that our discussions translated into the 2026 year will be very useful for this understanding. And so thank you very much for all your presentation. Very, very exciting, very, very focused, well focused. And so we are here making a network and trying to be, useful for pastoralism.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Antonello. This is super motivating. It's the type of feedback that I am very happy to receive, but I think the speakers as well. Before giving the floor to the next hands raised, I'm going to finally read a comment. Well, that's rather a question in the chat from Ilaria Parente, who could not actually turn on her microphone. So Ilaria is asking if your pastoral schools, so I guess this is more addressing Maria and Marco, do your pastoral schools draw on any specific critical pedagogy or participatory teaching methods? And what educational challenges are most common in your training programs? How do you monitor whether your educational and ecological objectives are being achieved? The last part, how to monitor educational and ecological objectives, is really important because I know someone else previously in the chat was asking about indicators to track this progress and to make it more operational. So Maria and Marco, again, the floor is yours.
I start? So, okay, about these educational and ecological objectives, if they are being achieved, well, for each part of the training, which it lasts 1 year, we do different kinds of exams, but it's not well, there is one exam, but then there are other activities that it serves us to see if our students are learning, and this can be during the theoretical part, but also during the practical internship. And actually, it's more about talking with our students and asking them, and then we see if they have understood or not, and if they are applying what they have learned at the school. And it's more like conversations, or they do presentations of what they have learned. So we do it in this way. I don't know if I'm responding, more or less. So it depends on each part, actually. And then, shall I continue, or Marco?
Feel free maybe to address also the other points of the question if you have anything to add, and after this we can give the floor to Marco.
Okay, so I'm not sure to understand these participatory teaching methods, but the critical pedagogic aspect. Our school, it's based on agroecology, and we have a lot of it's not only about veterinarian issues, health issues, reproduction, or food issues. It's a lot of access to land, agroecological practices, relationship with administrations, ecosystem services, and all these kind of more social things, and farm transmissions, and well. So, and usually, also the theoretical classes are not just someone talking. It's more about debate. For sure, there is some kind of teacher comes and gives the age, try to share their knowledge, but it's a lot of debate and talking with all together. And many teachers say that actually when they come to our school, they come to learn as well. So they're not teaching only, they are learning from our students and from the experience from each of them. So I don't know if I'm responding.
I
Yes.
think Ilaria cannot turn on her microphone for technical reasons, but I guess this is addressing pretty much the point. If not, I invite Ilaria to reach out directly to us or to Maria. We're going to share the context of the speakers, at least for sure, right after this meeting. Now I leave the floor to Marco for him to be able to answer the question.
So our School of Shepherds is the third edition. So we are closing tomorrow the third edition of the Shepherd School. By the way, if you want to assist, you can assist by the Facebook line. So, but I'm telling you, it's going to be in Portuguese. So, the principal theme for tomorrow is the International Year of Rangelands and Pastorals. So you can address to that. Our education program, starting with this, we do the practical part of the school in fields that we do research. So the students going to be with the expert of the team. So for example, pasture management. So they going to be with the expert in forage management. It's just like Saint Maria, the expert don't come to teach, come to learn, because the shepherds know more than the experts. Okay, the shepherds are the real experts in the team, but they sometimes don't know the real names of the things. So how to address the things. And they came to the experts, and then they have in the morning with the expert in the room talking about theoretical issues, and the other part of the day they go to the field when we do research. We have, just to address you, we have a total of 3,000 hectares monitorized to research in the area. So any type of property of shepherds, of partners that are in the zone of Dalbão, we know and we address research on them. So, biomass productivity, animal welfare, ecosystem services, escaped fire, whatever. What is the model? What is the part of the program that you are addressing? We have a farm that is research. They have research on their field. So they came not so shepherds. We have some people that want to become shepherds, and they stay with us a day with the expert for the morning, and the afternoon they go to the field and experience it. How we see if the objectives are being achieved. Well, if you are a shepherd, you have a farm, you have animals, and you want to change the model of your farm. So if you address our model, we're going to visit you. So we're going to visit you. We want to aconsellate what to do, not by money. Okay, we don't take money, charge money for this. Okay, we go into the visit, we talk, they phone us, they send these emails. We have a WhatsApp forum for them. We can take any criticisms, because shepherds are very criticism, okay, to us, how we say things, how we know things. Okay, it's difficult sometimes when you have a shepherd that is very stick to the form they do and they thinks, to change the model of his farm. But they came to visit the farm of a farmer partner, and they see by them what is the difference. So in the end of the month, what is the important is it's the money in your pocket for them. Okay.
Yeah.
Shepherds are very how I say it, very funds dependent. Okay. UE funds dependent. So if the model that we show them that you can be more independent from the funds, they will do, yes, I want to do that. So
yeah,
is how we see that the objectives is achieved. I know, so, I know more of the question. If
I think it was addressing pretty well the question. I'm also being a little bit mindful of time, as there are still a couple of hands raised, even if I mean, of course, we would need like 2 extra hours to have a proper conversation about everything we would like to address here. But yeah, I'm being mindful of time. So for the moment, I'm going to give the floor to Valentin and then to Lucy, Riccardo. Valentin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bea. Yeah, I just wanted to say that so someone mentioned that there is a gap between shepherd experience and this kind of initiative and the policymakers. And this is actually a really big issue that we also noticed in our work in Euromontana and with Bea. And we're organizing, as part of the International Year of Rangeland of Pastoralism, a quite big event next year in France, actually to discuss this gap and what can we do for the future of shepherding in Europe. So in the Alps, in the Carpathian, everywhere in the Pyrenees as well. So it's the European Mountain Convention. Bea just shared the link in the chat, but I think some of you might be interested to join. I mean, obviously, if you're a shepherd, it's tricky to leave for some dates because it's from the 9th to the 11th of June, but there will be politicians there for sure to have round tables as well as workshop, and we will have some field visit as well to actually go to the pasture and see this kind of initiative live. So if you would like to join, the registration is not open, but there is like a pre-registration link on the page Bea shared. So yeah, I mean, I hope we can continue this kind of discussion because I see that it's really passionate and interesting. So yeah, that would be great to have you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Valentin. And now I give the floor to Lucy Riccardo. I hope I'm pronouncing it properly.
Yes, thank you, Beatrice, and hi to everybody. I'm Riccardo from Switzerland, and I'm working since 15 years together with the agricultural schools on shepherding training courses. Before 2009, there was no school offering any training courses for shepherds, actually, and now it has been well established, and every year there are people interested to participate in these courses. So I just take advantage of this circle of persons interested in shepherding training, shepherding schools, educational efforts to, I will put a link here to the publishing of a book. We have been written, it was a team of authors of 5 or 6 authors this year. It's called A Manual on Shepherding in the Alps. And it has been published so far in German and in French. I will just put the link in the chat. So of course it's linked to the Swiss situation of shepherding, and probably certain things and the landscape, everything can be quite different from other environments like in Portugal and so on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Riccardo, also for this resource. It can be found in the chat. Okay. Is there any other vocal question, so a question made with a hand raised in the meeting.
There is just one question. I'm seeing in the chat more comments that we should share all the information about this online discussion forum and the previous one. I don't know if there is a page on ShepForBio website or like make a way. Apparently people are interested to have everything.
Good point. Actually, there is, and I'm gonna get it in a second. You will see that we normally collect all the reports and the resources from the previous online discussion forums, but also the other events of ShepForBio projects, such as the international conferences. We also have the pastoral newsletters. So you should be able to find them on the right side of the page that you can open if you click in the link that I just dropped in the chat. So everything should be there, and we're going to make sure to create a report after this online discussion forum as well. I see there's still one intervention from Marco.
Hello again. Frosina, you mentioned early in your presentation, like you see transhumance like a dinosaur. Why?
At least for the Balkans, like a dinosaur, because this is somehow a personal insight, doing a lot of interviews on the field with the shepherds, which are, as I said, in their late 50s, 60s. They don't have young people. They don't have fresh blood. They are struggling to modernize. Even when I was asking them about putting some new practices about milking, they say this is not adjustable to the summer pastures. When we are, let's say, on the summer sheepfold, we cannot use these mechanics. So that's why I'm saying that this is my very personal view of practice on the ground. A lot of discontent, a lot of marginalized feeling. And I agree with Tamara that we really need to work on the image of the shepherds, of this, I don't know, of this role that we all had in the past. We somehow really disconnected from these traditional practices. And now, you know, young people are kind of ashamed to say, I'm a farmer, I'm a shepherd, I'm doing this, I'm goat herding, sheep herding, etc. So at least for our countries, this is the thing. And there is a kind of a very structural issues and push and pull factors that are very strong in order to change or to improve the situation. So that's why I'm saying it's not just project, it's also changing the mindset, a lot of help of subsidies, state strategies, and even regional connection to improve stuff. But also I see definitely a strong need for the private sector stepping in this moment, just to explore and to see whether the things can be somehow improved. Thank you for the question.
Excellent. Thanks a lot. Sorry, Marco, you wanted to maybe react.
I want to say something to Stephanie too, because I want to know, because we have the same issue in here, is the relation between shepherd, tourist, and earth. So because we have this problem in here, one of the models of our school shepherd is how the shepherd can become a tourist active. So, but we have a relationship between the tourist, the shepherd, and the earth is very, very, very difficult.
No, I agree with you completely, and I think that this overlap is a perfect example of the double-edged sword, and that we have to be very careful for how we approach it, because very quickly this can start to degrade the natural environment and to completely change the identity of the region. And I will briefly mention that within the framework of our project, we did visit a tourist information center in a different part of Albania that we feel is doing this really, really well, because they're not marketing anything at this time. They're spending years building the foundation of working with local stakeholders and creating, just working locally with a lot of different stakeholders, with shepherds, with people who produce local products, and with accommodation. There is a very strong awareness that if suddenly you say, okay, we're open for tourism, come visit, then at one point it might be slow, and then suddenly, bam, and then you have a big problem. And so it is very delicate, and there are a lot of different factors that need to be considered when thinking specifically about tourism, because it can come to have negative implications. And so I think that this forum is good for sharing awareness about it. We're certainly not saying, let's just do tourism. Increasing tourism influx by 10% is absolutely not the goal.
Yeah, that's clear. Thank you, Stephanie. Frosina, maybe one last intervention, and then I'm being mindful of time, so I think we will have to wrap, but the floor is yours.
Yes, very shortly, just to add on that we really, with the activities of the project, saw a missing role. So I will repeat myself, doing interviews with the shepherds, they are not against tourism, but they say, we have work, we cannot deal with tourists. So even the tourist guide won't be this missing link. We are kind of missing another scale of, I don't know, organizations maybe that will be the link between the tourism sector and the shepherding. We don't know, but we are seeing this missing link. And I completely agree with you, Marco, that the shepherd cannot deal. He has a lot of obligation during the day, and somebody else needs to communicate with the tourists and deal with them very, very carefully.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So like a sort of like a connector or facilitator that creates the bridge between these different parties. All right. I think sadly we are running out of time, but I'm gonna pick on one last comment in the chat by Luis Miguel. I am aware that all the contacts, all the initiatives, all the resources that we have been sharing during this online discussion forum, but also during the other events in the last years, are incredibly valuable resources that we absolutely need to capitalize on. We are still figuring out how, but for sure, one of the objectives of the project is to try to establish a sort of network or platform that can indeed unite all these different voices across Europe. It's something we've been discussing already in the past years, and we need to establish the right format and figure out the resources to keep this alive, but it's absolutely not anything we have been forgetting about. So bear with us, it's gonna take some shape in the next steps of the project. And yeah, I see a lot of comments in the chat. I'm super happy that you're also connecting with each other spontaneously. Every time I organize these kind of meetings, I realize that time is never enough to continue the conversation and to foster more. So I'm sorry, but I have yeah, I think we need to wrap it up. Just to let you know in immediate terms, what are the next steps? I know everyone is interested in receiving the materials that we presented today. I would maybe quickly ask the speakers right now if it's okay for them to share the materials right away, or if you prefer to change anything in your presentations before. No, that's excellent. So either today or tomorrow, I'm going to already share with all the participants and all those who did not join the materials you have presented, and possibly already the contacts of the people who participated. I'm gonna need some more time to create a proper report where we write down all of the discussions and the questions we addressed during this event, as well as to share with you the actual recording of this event. Potentially this might be done in January. Now, if nothing else urgent is on the table, I want to take another time the opportunity to thank our speakers today for all of these really cool presentations that everyone actually appreciated and we're incredibly curious about. So this definitely triggered a conversation and a lot of very nice foundations for future actions and exchanges in the future. Which are going to certainly happen because in less than a month, well, the official year of rangelands and pastoralism is starting. We already shared a lot of upcoming events in the chat. Yeah, and a big thank you also to the participants who stayed with us for these 2 hours and are definitely looking eager to have more of these exchanges. So we definitely took note of it. Thank you so much for your commitment. We're going to be in touch. And yes, have a nice rest of the day. Enjoy your winter break and see you soon again. Thank you.
And thanks to Beatrice for the excellent moderation.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.